When something is on clearance, do you buy a lot of it? You too? Well, I bought a lot of these little mini cutting boards at ALDI on clearance. Let's see what I do with them. Okay, these are just a few of the little mini cutting boards that I picked up on clearance. There are a variety of colors, shapes, sizes, and these are the few that I'm going to use today. Okay, and the DIY number one, this was an okay color to start with, but I wanted to use this Farm Fresh paint by DIY. Now I get my DIY paints from Sammy over at Unicorn Dust Designs. I will have her channel linked in the description box below if you want to go over there and check out all the beautiful colors of DIY paints there are to choose from. I gave this a couple of good coats, front, back, sides, the whole 9 yards. And now I'm going to seal it with some clear wax by DIY. Because it is a clay-based paint, when it gets wet, it will be reactivated. So if you don't seal it, then in the future, your piece is not going to last. So I'm just going to clear wax the front, the back, everything. Now I'm going to take a little bit of this white wax and just kind of do the edges and just give it a little bit of dimension. I absolutely love this Farm Fresh color. I'm in love with it. I ordered a lot of DIY colors and I'm in love with all of them. I think that the colors are so pretty, but this particular one I love. I'm not sure why I did this because I ended up covering up most of it, but I think it just softened the color a little bit and made it pretty. Now I'm going to take this little scrap of burlap and I frayed the edges a little bit. I'm going to run a bead of hot glue along the bottom and I'm making a little smooth edge, so I'm going to glue that down and then I'm going to fold it. I'm going to put the glue on the inside and then fold it up. You can see what I'm doing here. Using my little spatula from Dollar Tree so I don't burn my fingers because the burlap is not a solid piece of fabric, so it will burn you because the glue will come all the way through. So I'm going to do that on both sides all the way up to the top and kind of leaving a little bit of a gap so we have a little pouch. We're going to put some little florals in there. These florals I bought at Hobby Lobby several years ago, and I don't even remember how much I paid for them, but I got them on half price, no doubt, because I don't buy anything full price, and I think they look so cute in there. And then I love my little crocheted lace ribbon because it's very shabby chic. I love to shabby chic things up. It happens to be my style. So I'm going to wrap that around right on top of this, and then I'm going to take that little twine that you see laying there and wrap it around the top of that piece of lace just to give it a little bit of detail. Just putting a little hot glue down there, and this lace is a little bit I started to say see-through. It's a little bit holy so that the glue can seep through. So I'm using that little spatula from Dollar Tree. I got that a couple of Easters ago. I got a 2-pack of them, and I've just been using them and using them and using them, and so they've lasted me. So I thought I was going to wrap that around a couple times, but changed my mind. I liked it just one time. So I'm just going to wrap it around one time. Then I'm going to make a tiny little bow and stick it right in the center on the front, I think. If I remember correctly what I did, I think that's what I did. Yep, made just a little bow. Just a simple little bow. And put it right there. And then I made a little hanger for the hole. Just doubled it over, doubled my twine over, poked it through the hole. Come on, get through there. Get my little handy dandy tweezers, pull it through. Why didn't I take that? There we go. Take that greenery out of there. Get it out of my way. Okay, and then pull it through and then tie a knot on the end And we have a little hanger if you want to hang it. It is really a cute shelf sitter. It's small enough it could go on a tiered tray. You can set it next to some antique books or buy some plants. I think it turned out really cute. Okay, the next one. This one I didn't do a whole lot to it, but it turned out super cute. I'm going to try my hand at the French stripe. And mine didn't turn out that great, but I do love how it turned out. I didn't change anything about the color on this. I just used it in its regular color, and I'm taping off the width of this tape. I'm just going to paint right down the center with white swan. Now this is just not really an off-white, but it's not a stark white. I absolutely love it. I used to mix this color, custom mix this color, and I would call it my boho white, because when I would do boho decor, I didn't want a stark white, but this was the perfect, what I would call a boho white. Excuse me. So I'm going to do a couple of little coats, just using my little makeup sponge, dabbing it on there, and then I end up getting an old stencil brush and using that too. And then I like having that stipple effect and having a little texture to it. So taking the tape off, that reveal and those nice crisp lines is always nice. Now this is where I don't know. I didn't know how wide to make the lines on the side, how far to put them, how far they needed to be out. I don't know. I don't know if there is a rhyme or reason to the French stripes. I don't know. But anyway, I was just eyeballing it and it turned out cute. So you'll have to let me know what you think. Or if you have an extra way that you do it. I did watch a YouTube video and there was someone who had, I can't remember the name of the channel, but they had tape that they had created for this very type of technique. But I did not have time to order that tape, so I just used my masking tape and went on about my business. And here's the final reveal, and I think it turned out just fine. And I gave it a good sanding with a fine grit. No, it was not a fine grit, it was a pretty medium grit. Well, I used the medium grit on the back because I wanted to kind of rough up this. It looked too pretty and shiny and new, so I decided to rough up the back side. This is what I would think would probably really be the front side, but I didn't want to paint those stripes on this side of it. So I just used my little sanding block. You can get them at Dollar Tree, but this one actually was gifted to me. And so then, yeah, I guess I did use this on the front. I just didn't press down as hard when I go over the painted part. And I did use a finer grit on this at some point, but I don't know if I got that on camera or not. So yeah, when I go to do this part, I think I just didn't press down as hard. I just barely rubbed over it. Oh, here we go. I knew it. So yeah, that's a finer grit. That's the 221. And then I'm going to wipe all the dust off with a little paper towel. Oh, I love how this one turned out. Here I go with the clear wax again. And I always put it on the back of my hand because we don't want to double dip, because all of the ingredients in this wax are natural ingredients, and we don't want to double dip in there because it will contaminate it. Now, this is some macrame cord, and I've had it in my stash for a very long time, and I took it, it's a 3-ply, and so I unraveled it, and I'm going to use 1 ply of it, and I'm going to thread it through that hole and make a hanger. Just like I do on all 5 of these. And wanted this to have more of a natural look, and this is all I did to this one. I did double knot that because I wanted the knot to be a little thicker on the end. And yeah, that's all I did to this one. I wanted it to kind of hang to the side, so I did it to the side, and then I just frayed the edge of that a little bit, and there you go. I love how this one turned out. Very simple. Today's video is part of the Try It Tuesday challenge hosted by my friend Sammy over at Unicorn Dust Designs. Please go over and check out her channel if you haven't already. And this challenge is where we create DIYs inspired by another creator, and it's the last Tuesday of every month. We will put the original creator's link in the description box, give them credit, and also the entire playlist is in the description box, so check that out. Now, DIY number 3. I am going to leave this beautiful gray color. I'm going to just scuff it up a little bit with this sanding block just to give it a little bit of character, because, you know, can't be too clean and neat, right? I'm going to take the white swan and I'm just going to give it a little dry brush, the front and the back and the sides. Oh, it's pretty heavy dry brush, but not too much. And these DIYs today were inspired for me by our Upcycled Life, Deidre, and she did some cutting boards, and she actually made the cutting boards and decorated them, and I'll leave her link in the description box below, as well as the video if I can find it, and you can go over and check her out. Now, this is an IOD transfer. These IOD transfers are absolutely gorgeous. They are so easy to use. You just rub them down and they are so beautiful. They feel like they belong on your project. I get mine from Two Chicks Home and Market, and I will leave their link in the description box below. And if you are a first-time customer, you can get a 10% discount with the link down there. So please go and check them out and use that link and get some beautiful goodies, some stamps, some molds, some transfers. Check out their website. She has some beautiful stuff on there. Now I'm going to use this great lace that I love again. I'm going to make this one look a little bit shabby chic. This is so my style, with a little bow up there. I'm going to put just a simple little twine hanger on it. I'm going for a little bit simple looks today, but I think that they all turn out great. This one I think is so beautiful. This may be my favorite one. Be sure and leave a comment down below which one of these little mini cutting boards is your favorite. Okay, DIY number 4, we are moving right along. This is Cake Batter by DIY, and it is a beautiful color. And yeah, I just used the paint off the lid because the lid came off when I opened it up. You're also not supposed to double dip your brush into these paints, so I usually use what's on the lid, but sometimes I do dip into the paint. Sorry. So I give this 2 coats of paint, front, sides, and back. And I did not get on camera. Ooh, I dipped in the jar. Sorry, guys. I did not get on camera that I used some wax. I learned this from Deidre too. I used some wax and I just rubbed it in a few places where I didn't want the paint to stick. And this is a great way to distress. And then I gave it a coat of white swan paint on top. After the white swan paint is completely dry, I go in with, I'm trying to find whatever works the best. I had this little plastic spatula that didn't work real good, and so then I had this little wooden stick that worked much better. And so I'm just scraping off the paint where I had applied that wax. I really wish I would have gotten that on camera, but it gives a great distressed look. You can see over there on the left, it's a great distressed look. Now, I had this little resin piece. It's a little you know, keyhole, and I just stippled some cake batter paint on it. And now I'm trying to decide which size of these little keys that I want to use. Those keys I got on Amazon, and they will be linked in my description box below. Now I'm using the Antique Wax by DIY, and I'm just going to stipple it on here and then wipe off the excess, and then I stipple a little more on and wipe off the excess. The DIY waxes are amazing products. If you haven't tried them yet, hop on over to Sammy's website and pick you up some, because they are amazing products. They seal your product. They give it an awesome, unique look. I love the way it made this turn out. It looks very antique and used and worn, and I don't know, I love the way it looks, especially on this little distressed looking wood piece. That was my first time to ever use that wax distressing technique. I've been wanting to use it. I've seen several people do it. Okay, so I braided some of this yarn together to make a thicker piece because I wanted to use this green yarn as my little handle, but it wasn't thick enough, so I braided 3 pieces of it together. I think that turned out really cute for a little handle here, and then I just stuck it through there and tied a knot on the end. Super simple. Now I'm going to make a tiny little tassel. I just cut a little piece of cardboard, and if you want to know how to make a tassel, I have a video. I'll link it in the description box below. Slowed down, real-time version of how to make a tassel and a finger bow. So I'll leave that in the description box below. That tassel was a little wadded up too, and I did spray it with some water and smoothed it out, but I didn't show that on camera. Now I'm going to thread that yarn through that key, and then I'm going to tie it to our handle. So it will dangle down there, and then I do believe I hot glued that down. I don't know if I got that on camera or not. Sometimes I think I hit record and I don't, or I hit record and then I forgot I hit it, and then I hit it again thinking I'm hitting record and I hit stop. The struggle is real, guys. So I've got these tiny little pieces of greenery off of a little greenery bush, and I'm just going to add a few little pieces to the top as an extra little added detail, and that is it. So let me know what you think about this one. I absolutely love how this turned out. That little cup on top of those books was my daddy's when he was little, and he would be 82 years old. So, okay, last but not least, I'm going to use SALTWASH, of course. One of my videos would not be complete without using some SALTWASH. And then this Cowgirl Coral. Oh, I cannot even say the name of this paint. It is such a beautiful color. It's Cowgirl Coral. So I'm going to mix a little bit of that with a little bit of SALTWASH, and we're going to make a beautiful finish here. So I'm going to mix that together really good. And then I'm just going to take that old worn out chippy brush over there and stipple it on to the front and the sides. I don't usually use the texture on the back side of my projects. I usually just paint it solid, that color that I'm using. So now I'm just going to use a good amount. I'm going to stipple it on all over it, and then I wasn't able to really get it down in that little groove very good with this brush, so I got a smaller little chippy brush. It's an old brush I've had for years, and it's just kind of an old worn out stiff brush, and so it worked really good to get down in that little groove. And yeah, so there you go. Then I went back in, gave it a little bit more texture, and I didn't really want a lot of really thick texture on there, so I just got how much I wanted on there. So now I'm going to take White Swan with no SALTWASH and give this, okay, so on the top coat of this, I want it thick in some places and not so thick in other places. So I'm giving it a good coat, but not solid all over. In some places it's solid, in some places it's not. So when I sand, you get chippy, and then you can see the coral still through there. So that's kind of what. And then the back just looks sort of dry brushed, heavy dry brushed, but it's not. Okay. Then here we go. I didn't get on camera when I sanded, and I wish I could have because it was such a magical thing. But I just used that sanding block and sanded it down, and oh, look at all that. Like my friend Sammy says, that chippy goodness. I love how this turned out. You can see the white, you can see the coral, you can go all the way down to the wood a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to use my IOD stamp. This comes from the, let's see, I had someone teach me how to say this in French. Let me see if I can remember. La Campagne. La Campagne. Okay, Audrey, did I say it right? I'm saying it like a dork though. Oh boy. Okay, so yes, it's from that series. You can get this from twochickshomeandmarket.com. Link in the description box. First time buyers, first time customers get a 10% off with that link. So be sure you go down there and use that coupon. And I want you to see the detail. I zoomed in so you can see that beautiful detail on this little rooster. And look how pretty that black is up against that coral. Now, I'm just taking a fresh baby wipe and cleaning it off. And then I did go to the sink and rinse it good with water. And if you take good care of your IOD products, they will take care of you. And I store that ink pad upside down. That was a trick that Elsie over there at Two Chicks Home and Market taught me. She has the cutest store in Denison, Texas. If you're ever in Denison, Texas, please go downtown, the old downtown. It's so quaint, and her little shop is so adorable. It used to be the hardware store, and she told me that when she was little, she would go in there with her dad, and there were all these colors of paints and all these little hardware pieces and trinkets and things. And now she has all kinds of paints and trinkets and things in her store. And I just love that. Okay, so there it is with a bigger bow. I decided I didn't like the bigger bow, so I made a little smaller bow, and I like it better. If you like a bigger bow, make a bigger bow. And then I'm just going to make a handle, and this one will be done. So be sure to leave me a comment and let me know you're here. I don't know you're here if you don't leave me a comment. And let me know which one of these was your favorite. Be sure, if you're not subscribed, to hit that subscribe and the bell so you get notified every time that I upload a new video. And the most important thing is to remember to be still and know that He is God. Thank you so much for watching. Be blessed.